Welcome to Dairy Robot Radio, the show that provides answers to your most pressing questions about dairy farming and automation. Each episode will focus on a major topic within the dairy industry and will feature experts throughout our industry and within Lely to help provide information and different perspectives on automation. And now, here's your host, Preston Vincent.
I'm Preston Vincent, your host for today's podcast, and I'm excited to host one of our senior members of our farm management support team, or as we call it, and you might know it as FMS, Adam Griffin from the far northeast of the United States. Welcome, Adam.
Well, thanks, Preston. Glad to be a part of one of the early editions of Dairy Robot Radio. I work in the eastern region of the U.S., covering dealerships and working with FMS Lely Center advisors. But across the broader team, I'm part of a 7-member team here in North America. And as a group, we specialize in certain areas of interest. In my case, a lot to do with the data side of T4C and other data interests that Lely has with other organizations across the market. I make my home in Massachusetts with my wife, who's a dairy farmer. Just excited to be here with you on this podcast, Preston.
Awesome. And so today we are going to be discussing a new and recent update to our T4C, or our Time for Cows software program. And like Adam says, the specialty is in the data side of it. So we're going to go through a bit of what 3.10 is, some of what the new updates are, also how these can provide value to you as a dairyman, also to give you some insights onto how you can capture and realize some of these new updates and features that are getting rolled out.
Just to maybe give you a little bit of background too into the T4C platform. So T4C is the herd management software that accompanies the robot systems, whether it's the milking robots or the MFR vector system. Probably about twice a year, Lely offers an update to the version, in this case 3.10. But even between those major versions, we do have minor versions that will come out automatically that allow us to get newer features or something that is desired within the market into the program between those major updates. So in 3.10, which was a significant update for us on a global level, and then here focused on North America, we started to make a shift, not only in functionality, but just in overall appearance. We've taken T4C to a more consistent visual application, consistent with all of our other Lely platforms. So just really our overall interface is new, it's modern, and then from there we start getting down into some of those new features that you referenced.
Yeah, perfect. So knowing that a lot of Red Cow community members on the podcast and are listening in, yeah, go ahead. What are some of the new features?
Probably the one that was the most exciting for a lot of the current customers that went from the transition from 3.9 to 3.10 are those herds that were using the NEDAP activity tag. One of the things that we experienced with the introduction of the NEDAP technology into our activity tag offering, along with SCR, was that our data platform in T4C was limited in respect to how we presented rumination information. Lely made it a point to make sure that we aligned our data when it comes to activity between the two systems. So really in this version, for those NEDAP users, we were able to bring that alignment within the system so that NEDAP users were going to see their activity and rumination, eating data consistently with how they would view any other points of data. So looking at our dashboard, having a KPI that shows rumination minutes, eating minutes, and then even going down further into individual reports, seeing that data actually presented to them. So that was a big thing for our NEDAP users. We received a lot of positive feedback on that.
Excellent. Yeah, I can second that too. I know out into the field before 3.10 was available, some of those users with that brand of tag. We're limited as to what they could see, and very excited to see that it's now back in and on the dashboard and looks the same as they've expected.
Yeah, one other item related to the activity tag was, so not only did it bring the alignment within the data presentation side of T4C, but also from a support standpoint, a lot of consistency or a lot of similarities now with how we set up T4C for those two systems. So that's going to make it easier for our technicians out in the field, our support folks that are out setting these up. So there isn't two separate ways to set up these two systems now, depending on which decision you make with your activity tags.
Good deal. So then to expand on that, so if an active user on the NEDAP system had 3.9 and then all of a sudden we update to 3.10, that just automatically just updates for them? There's nothing they need to do, or they don't need to contact any of their local Lely Center advisors to initiate, or how does that go about?
Yeah, good question. When T4C gets updated, the functionality for having some of those new features with the NEDAP system are available in T4C. The automatic seamless transition from 3.9 to 3.10 with respect to the activity settings happen automatically. However, the one thing that may have to be done by the user, and if they do need help with it, they can work with their FMS advisor, is bringing some of those selected items, say your KPIs, and make them available on the dashboard. But that's a simple click and drag setting under the dashboard preferences. So very seamless.
One update that I know about myself that I'm excited to hear you expand upon would be the automatic routing across midnight. Tell us about that.
So that was another one that we had, not just from Red Cow community, but really from all customers that are using routing. One of the limitations with earlier versions of 3.10 was having to set separate routing settings in order to have animals routed across midnight. So we really had to work around that midnight hour. Big change for us now, having the ability to set a time that crosses over that midnight barrier and allow that real flexibility that customers were expecting out of a routing setting, whether it be routing for heat, routing for health, routing for any necessary management activities that the producer wants to perform on the animals.
Wow, okay, cool. So if maybe give an example of a situation like a cow that is in heat and routing is enabled, what's going to happen different because of this?
Now it just gives us the ability to work with our customers and set up a route that just works right across any time frame and any day of the week that customers want these activities. In your case, an animal that's in heat prior to 3.10, if we had a route that was to be performed all day, I would have had to set up a routing activity that would have been from midnight to midnight for every day. Now we can just set it up to go across the day with one setting, one page, and we can then direct which days, if we don't want it to happen every day, we can think of other activities, hoof trimming, fresh cow checks, vet checks, but any of the days that we don't want those to happen, when they don't have to. For those activities that we want animals to be in the pens, at 3, 4 in the morning, whenever shifts start to begin, we only just need one setting to collect those animals across that midnight barrier. And it sounds simple, it sounds easy now that we've got it, but it really was a challenge to make that work, not only from the functionality behind the page, the user interface, but really on that user interface, making it clean and understandable so that the user knew exactly how the animal would be routed across that time barrier.
Cool, that's really awesome. And a big feat that was accomplished to make it happen, and I know this will make most of our Red Cow community members quite pleased, because if we look at how we manage cows and the robots, it's growing more and more and more to where these separation pens are an absolute need, and our Red Cow community members have these separation pens within their barn designs, and now T4C can be worked to its full potential to get the animals there that need to be there based on the time that we want them to. So excellent addition. So anything else within the update?
So an underutilized portion of T4C that I think is starting to gain some traction within particularly the Red Cow community, with the support of senior farm management support advisors across the market, and those down at the Lely Center level are doing a really good job of pointing out the advantages of using advanced filters, not only to customize reports within T4C, but also the routing. So we talked about the new feature of routing across midnight. Now we're able to use the advanced filters to get even more sophisticated with our routing plans, and really make sure we're getting the right animals at the right time for those activities.
Why don't you expand a little bit on, say somebody on here is wanting to utilize some of these new upgrades and is questioning the best way to go about it. What is the best way for them to go and utilize some of the new advances?
In order to use these new features, or with any questions related to T4C settings or options within the system, the best avenue remains working with the local FMS advisor through the Lely Center, in combination with the Senior Farm Management Support Advisor for Lely North America. Those groups are well versed in these updates. They go through extensive training to make sure that you're getting the best experience out of the T4C system. I hope all of you have built those good relationships with your Lely Center advisor to have those contacts and spend time going through the T4C system to take advantage of those new features. We certainly appreciate all the comments and suggestions and feedback we receive from this group of producers and really all Lely customers within our market. I have the great opportunity to work directly with the T4C project development group over in Lely International, along with the engineers. I feel like I can be the voice for you folks, and I want to continue to work for you. So if there's items that you can think of that you would like to see in T4C, please pass those through your Lely Center FMS advisors, and they will get them off through the appropriate channel. But I look forward to continuing to work on T4C for this group and all Lely farmers.
Tell us about the Taurus link and the API and all these new words that they're getting thrown around out there.
Yeah, this is another topic that's certainly a hot item for us at the moment. The Taurus link is a data transfer protocol that has been used by Lely to exchange data between various platforms. It's been around for at least a couple decades now, developed by Lely engineers. But as we've continued to progress in T4C and as these external systems, as they've improved, we've really had to try to bring our data exchange system up to a level that's consistent with today's data protocols that are standard of the current day. The new term that you're going to start hearing on your operation as the tech advisors come around is going to be API. And that data transfer protocol is a more seamless, more automatic transfer of data without getting too techie on you. I think the important thing to note is that this API gives us and the external system that we're looking to do data exchange with even more flexibility in how we handle that data transfer between the two systems. A lot more consistency, accuracy, security, something that has been a concern of Lely's for a number of years. The API is really going to beef that up within our data exchange, because at the end of the day, we want to protect your data, your information. This is your information that your animals are giving you every day that's going to help you make decisions on your operations. We want to make sure that you control that information and the flow of that information to external systems. So within the API, we've got some exciting development going on with a few groups within North America specifically. This is something that's going on globally. So we're not just looking at this transition from Taurus to API here in North America. This is a global effort. And so as we work through those transitions, we've got a great team over in Maslaus, part of which I'm on. And so really it's been an exciting year and a half since we made the transition or announced that we were going to be moving to this API method of doing data transfer. We've had some great development going on with various groups looking to enhance your expectations of what data exchange means on a day-to-day level. And then also we look to the future. We think about groups that we don't work with. We've had a lot of interested parties, organizations that you work with every day, whether it's a genetics company or breed association, the DHIAs. We're looking outward with those groups in mind as well. Currently, the Taurus link is limited to on-system exchange. So in order for Taurus to work, you have to have the two systems sitting side by side on the same computer. and that's a limitation for us. If we start to think about how we want to open up that data exchange to platforms that aren't necessarily side by side, but out in additional servers, other locations within their organizations, we now have the ability to use a cloud. And so now we're getting away from everything just being local, right on the same machine. Now we can think big picture, allow data exchange at that level. And at the end of the day, these organizations, we all want to support you. We all want to bring the products and services that are going to help you manage your animals, take your herd to the next level. We look forward to bringing those new features to you. The current timetable for realizing some of these transitions is going to be June of 2019. Earlier timeframes had us thinking somewhere right around the turn of the year, here in January 2019. So some of you heard that January date. There's been some thought given into that timetable, and Lely International has shifted it out 6 months. You may receive some information from your external herd management system support team with documentation or information about this. If you have any questions, certainly work through that group or your Lely FMS support team. I would say we're excited about it. We still have a few challenges to work through, as with anything with computer development and testing and validation, but I think we've got a really good plan in place to get this API up and running.
Great, yeah, this is going to be a big welcome to the industry, welcome to our users, and welcome to everybody when we have updated it to more of a new age look with the cloud, knowing that that's the most secure way to transfer data, and this data is your data, you the user's data, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything in the most secure way.
Yeah, thanks, Preston. Yeah, really nice opportunity to come and update this group on some of the activities going on in the data arena within Lely, and of course with these data partners that we talked about here at the end. As with anything, if you have questions about this data element, please contact your Lely Center FMS advisor. They'll get it through the appropriate channels, but hope to see some of you out on the road. I always enjoy getting out and working directly with customers when the opportunity exists, so hope to see some of you on the farm.
Thank you for being on and being a guest on the podcast, and I'm sure we'll do this again. So see everybody, we'll catch you in the next one.
You've been listening to Dairy Robot Radio, the show for dairy producers who want their questions answered by experts in dairy automation. Connect with us at dairyrobotradio.com to listen to all episodes and learn more about the topics and guests on the show. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify.